to make sure that that experience is safe for all involved.
First at 6, as more and more teachers begin to get vaccinated, local school districts are preparing for the return of in-person learning. Good evening. I'm Jacqueline Fernandez.
And I'm David Walker. Vaccines for Lane County educators arrived in Eugene today. They could be in the arms of teachers as soon as Friday or Saturday. The vaccines are going to all the local school districts.
Olivia Young joins us with a breakdown of how that distribution will look. Olivia.
David, Jacqueline, the 6 larger districts will help vaccinate the smaller ones. And today we've also learned how many doses will go to each district. Out of this week's 1,700 doses, 780 are going to 4J, 410 to Springfield, and 330 to Bethel, while South Lane will receive 100 and 40 each to Cresswell and Siuslaw. While those numbers may look skewed, each district is receiving enough to vaccinate about 20% of their staff. And remember, those numbers include portions for other districts being vaccinated at those sites. I spoke to Springfield schools about the vaccination process and their plans to return to the classroom. Vaccines for Lane County's educators arrived Wednesday, with larger districts like Springfield helping administer doses to others.
We have about 411 vaccines that we're receiving, but we're also supporting 6 of our rural districts.
Springfield Public Schools hoping to work through those doses during a vaccine clinic for educators Saturday. Vaccines for teachers arriving today. Can we expect a return to in-person learning soon?
Yes, so we are just prepped and ready with our transportation department to begin starting next week with our kinder and our first graders to pick them up and deliver them to the building for in-person instruction.
SPS gearing up to welcome kindergartners and first graders back into schools February 4th, followed by second and then third graders a couple days later. School buses will soon be jumping back into action, but it won't look like it did before the pandemic. As you can see, some seats are off limits to space students out. Buses will load from the back to the front and be limited to 1 student per seat, with the exception of siblings. Students need to register online to ride the bus. There's also extra cleaning before every pickup and drop-off.
Cleaning everything, literally everything. Ceilings, walls, seats.
Inside Springfield schools, more safety precautions.
Designated spots where they would stand, directional arrows where they would need to walk, making sure they're keeping 6 feet distance, the requirement of masks.
Saturday's vaccine clinic offering another layer of protection for educators.
We're starting with any of our employees that will be directly in person starting February 4th.
Including teachers, custodians, nutrition staff, and bus drivers.
I miss my kids. I can't wait to get back going. Teachers for higher grades now have the option to teach online from their classrooms or continue teaching from home. Right now, other local districts, including Bethel and 4J, are still in comprehensive distance learning. Jacqueline.
All right, thanks, Olivia. 6th through 12th graders in Roseburg are returning to the classroom on February 1st. Kval's David Ochoa checks in with families and teachers tonight.
I'm excited because I actually get to go to school.
Secondary schools in Roseburg were supposed to join elementary schools in reopening this week, but COVID numbers in Douglas County were too high. Now those numbers have dropped and students in 6th through 12th grade can return to the classroom.
My son's happiness means everything to me, and right now, him being in school, that's so exciting.
Daly may be happy, but the back and forth between reopening and not reopening still has her a little wary.
The last time we got the email, it was what? Not even 3 days before we got, oh, sorry, you can't go back to school. I'm afraid these kids are in for another disappointment. I pray I'm wrong.
Superintendent Jared Corden told me last week that once the numbers got low enough, they'd open secondary schools the following week. And that's exactly what they're doing now.
It's not only parents and students that are affected. Teachers are too.
Are teachers happy about reopening? What are you hearing from your secondary school staff?
There are no moral absolutes in terms of reopening, right? There's not one right way. People have their own opinions in terms of, we should have opened long ago or we still should be closed.
Corden was in elementary schools this week to gauge how the reopening was going. He tells me there was an overwhelming sense of relief among the staff to have kids back in the building.
I think it'll be similar in 612. I think our staff are going to be super happy to get kids back.
Reporting in Douglas County, I'm David Ochoa.
Could getting children back to class help boost jobs here in Oregon? David Gerstenfeld from the Oregon Employment Department tells us that'll depend on whether people can actually go back to work.
It really is very individualized. For some people, it probably will mean that they are more able to go back to work. because we have seen a lot of people who the main reason they couldn't be at work was because they needed to be at home with their children while the schooling was being done virtually. For other people, it may mean that they're less able to work, and those are issues that we need to look at.
According to Gerstenfeld, waiting times have gone down for people to initially get their benefits after they apply. He says the employment office is still trying to catch up. Pandemic unemployment assistance claims will be paid out no later than February 5th for those without remaining weeks on their claim.
Let's take a look at the latest numbers in the pandemic. Today, the Oregon Health Authority reported 731 new or presumptive cases and 20 new deaths linked to the virus. That brings the statewide death toll to 1,924. More than 140,000 Oregonians tested positive for COVID-19. Beginning Friday, people can head back to the movies, museums, and gyms, once again enjoying indoor activities that were closed in extreme risk areas. The list, however, does not include indoor dining.
However, there will be a limit set on how many people will be allowed inside those businesses. Lauren Negretti talked with some gym owners today. She joins us here in the studio now. Lauren, some of those owners are excited about all this. Others, though, are frustrated. What's something they'd like to see happen?
Well, David, Jacqueline, as far as that, the common theme that I heard from gym owners is they're happy to be back, but they find it unfair to have such strict blanket limitations. Those being one customer to one staffer for places under 500 square feet, like personal trainers, and facilities over 500 square feet can have up to 6 people. A familiar sound that'll once again fill East Side Barbell. That is, from a distance.
We are easily 30 feet apart.
The owners are excited to reopen, supported shutdowns and mask wearing, but
I have people in here proportional to the space.
They're members of the Oregon Health and Fitness Alliance, lobbying for that.
As one size fits all doesn't make sense in the gym industry.
Melissa Doherty also works as an emergency room doctor. As for the risk of exercise and heavy breathing spreading COVID-19,
25-foot spacing in a large, well-ventilated building, it seems remarkably unlikely that anyone is going to transmit or pick up coronavirus.
She could see one person per 500 square feet be a starting point, with restrictions loosening as numbers decline.
I definitely stand with my bigger gym owners and their frustration with that rule.
Russell already has classes scheduled beginning February 1st. Russell's 1,600 square foot space will start up 6 people and personal training sessions. Russell says she lost $40,000 over the pandemic.
I ended up selling a bunch of my equipment because I literally thought I was closing my doors.
Now, almost a year later and still standing, she remains hopeful to get back to some sort of normalcy again. Doherty says it's not just about working out, but the mental health benefits that come with it. Again, these are changes in extreme risk. Gyms are already open in lower risk categories. The next assignment of risk levels will be announced February 9th and take effect February 11th.
We have a Kval News follow-up tonight on an Oregon City man involved in a fatal, deadly hit-and-run in Portland on Monday. Today, Paul Rivas pleaded not guilty in the case. According to police, the 64-year-old was speeding through a Portland neighborhood, allegedly driving his car into 10 people, including 77-year-old Gene Gurich, who died. Our sister station in Portland obtained a copy of the dispatch audio through Broadcastify. Take a listen.
Or we have multiple pedestrians hit. Again, it's a mass casualty incident, Southeast 19th and Stark.
Rivas was arrested, and according to the arrest records, Rivas told investigators his car was having brake problems. But according to court documents, a witness said he saw Gene Gurich on the ground and a car drive off. The witness says the vehicle made a rapid U-turn back toward her, striking her a second time, running her over and dragging her under the vehicle. Well, the winter weather and road conditions may be a problem for crews working on wildfire cleanup on Highway 126. KVAL's Keely McCormick checked in with ODOT today. Keely, did this push back the cleanup schedule at all?
David, it pushed them back a bit, but really nothing too detrimental. The weather yesterday didn't roll in until the afternoon, so crews worked most of the day, and today they were able to start work on time. Highway crews are monitoring conditions very closely, but Tuesday's winter weather rolled in quick.
Yesterday we had the road conditions change very, very quickly, and on top of that we had small crashes here, there, and everywhere. We had a couple of large crashes in other parts of the state, but when the weather conditions change, it's really important to give yourself that extra time and be prepared.
The rain and snow mixed with the burnt terrain can make the roads near the burn zone even worse. But Lane County moved all county roads within the Holiday Farm fire burn zone up to priority 1 for winter storm response.
Highest on the list for any kind of plowing or de-icing should that be necessary depending on the storm. We also have equipment pre-staged.
Those roads include Goodpasture, Blue River Dam Road, and Northgate Creek. During and after a storm, those roads are monitored very closely, and they expect that area to stay high priority for the next few years.
Over the last few weeks with the rainstorms and the flooding and now snow, we have seen sinkholes develop in different places. We've had some landslides here and there. We've had big rocks come down. We've had trees come down. And so everybody just needs to be prepared. As you go around that corner, things might not be as you expect them to be.
The area is more dangerous now because of the burnt terrain. But wildfire cleanup crews recently replaced all the guardrails near the burn zone, so they're confident those will play a role in protecting drivers. Right now, ODOT says the main concern is black ice. It's hard to see, but keeping your headlights on will increase visibility. And if you do run into black ice, the best thing to do is gradually slow down. Don't slam on the brakes to try and regain control. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Keely. Coming up, good news for undergraduates looking to apply to Portland State University. We'll explain.
Plus, a closer look tonight at what U.S. terrorism alert warning is being given. There could be more violence on the way.
President Biden making bold new promises for vaccinations. I'm Atrell Nashar on Capitol Hill with how he plans to do it and why some are skeptical.